Well, Uncle Mark,
Yes.
how you doing?
Don't touch me. Don't fucking touch me.
Well, you're angling for that position on the court, aren't you?
I want I want some healing. I got some pains.
You want to get your energies all pushed up?
I've got my chakras and my chakras all a jumble, but I don't want you to touch me.
Well, I think Uncle Dan's got just the thing for you.
Oh yeah?
I may or may not. There may be some disappointment in this, but we'll get to that. Because yes, as you're hinting at, today we are going to discuss the ancient Japanese art of Reiki. Reiki was created, some would say, discovered. They would be wrong.
Revealed
By a man named Mikao Usui. And if you're wondering how
I was hoping it was going to be Edgar Reiki.
I was going to say, he didn't name it after himself.
Bob Reiki. If you're wondering how we can trace this art back to a single man, that's because there is an unbroken chain of records for this miraculous healing technique going all the way back to its creation in the days of antiquity, 1922. Yeah, so,
it's that recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usui understood
If that is his real name.
If that is his real name, and it isn't, and not anymore anyway. The guy's dead.
He gave up his name. Is that how it works? Back in the hat.
Yeah. Goes back in that for someone else to have.
Well, what is he going to do with it?
Yeah.
True.
He understood that the human body has a life force flowing through it that was vital to our health and well-being.
It's called blood.
And that having... Oh, fuck, you did hit my joke. That was literally where we were going.
Oh no.
That was literally the thing. No, that wasn't what he was talking about, though.
No.
No, what he was talking about is chi or energy or whatever you want to call it. And this is of course, a magical... It's basically the same as the Force in Star Wars, except without the blasphemous metachlorian bullshit. Don't get me started. And with no cool magic powers. Except maybe what he invented.
Right.
Which is the magic ability to heal by manipulating it.
So
Right.
it's just like the Force, except that you can't do anything with it and nothing happens and you can't move stuff.
Right.
Okay.
If you take away the ability to move things with your force, then it's the Force. But
Sign me up.
It flows through you, and it flows through the everythings and whatever. So it's the Force in that way. So yes, the idea is somehow this energy is flowing in you, promoting health and well-being, and it can be interfered with by outside forces. Any blocks to the chi lead to ill health and pretty much anything else that you might feel like complaining about. So you know, if you're if you're upset stomach or whatever,
Whatever ails you.
What if I don't like the weather?
yeah.
Same.
Well, here's the thing. Your chi is super sensitive to your own feelings and emotions.
Oh.
So if you don't like the weather, you're probably creating a block
Gotcha.
in your chi, and that needs to be sorted out.
And goiter.
Right, exactly. That's what that buildup is.
It's that you don't like that it's so windy
I like
today.
to call it my rage pouch.
I just like to call it my headrest.
So, as a sort of example, if you once thought that you were pretty cool because you participated in a collegiate sport, and then you realize that nobody fucking cares about competitive swimming unless you're in the goddamn Olympics, but you still hang on to the need to think you're cool, so you persist in petty squabbles about which type of swimming that nobody cares about is better, then your chi might be able to use some adjusting.
Those people are the worst.
You've just managed to unify Mark and me.
Yes, I know. Yes. Well, thank God.
You dry sport motherfucker.
I'm an ice sport guy, baby.
Oh no.
Curling.
Even worse.
It's the wave of the future.
The sport of kings.
In this warming globe, curling is the sport of the future. Bank on it.
Yeah. Take that one. Yeah, exactly. When practitioners of Reiki talk or write about it, they often bring in concepts from other woo fields.
Of
You
course
guys
they do.
mentioned them. Chakras,
Yeah.
an Indian concept. Auras, an English concept, actually. We'll have to get into that one sometime because it is fascinating. Energies, all of that sort of thing. Like most woo practices, Reiki is not at all testable. Except in reports from those who have received the services and doctors who can look at the progress of a tumor, for example. So far, in reliable studying, you'll be absolutely shocked and horrified to learn that there has never been shown to be any benefit beyond placebo.
Right.
Yeah.
So when Dr. Oz is talking about it, it's very legalese then.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's there's never, you cannot demonstrate
That waving your hands over your tummy gets rid of belly fat.
and unless somebody anecdotally explains how amazing it was for their achy legs.
Right.
You should see how bad the tumor could have been.
Right. Right.
Could
Exactly.
have killed them far sooner.
So what is Reiki? What does it look like? Reiki is essentially the practice of touching and or not touching somebody until they feel better.
Is that not just everything?
Shut your face. That's what.
So in a way, strangulation is Reiki.
Well,
Because once you stop touching them,
And so is not strangulation.
right.
they begin to feel better instantaneously.
Like that head with a hammer thing.
Yeah.
The practitioner of Reiki uses their hands to transfer energy to the client via a mysterious force known as jazz hands. No. I'm of course kidding. It's called unicorn fingers.
I like that you described the patient as a client. I think that was obviously not a Freudian slip.
He's not a patient because there's no medicine being practiced.
Yeah, maybe John is a better description.
Right along, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
between the two. So a Reiki practitioner receives this superpower through attunement by a Reiki master. Once a student has paid enough money, or that is risen through all the levels of attunement,
Yeah.
they are then able to zap you.
They're then able to hook you up to the e-meter,
Right?
flip that bitch on, and see what devil spirits in your spleen.
Right. So basically what this is going to look like were you to be a sucker enough to, and by the way, I happen to know that at least one of our listeners, multiple probably of our listeners, are either practitioners of Reiki or believers in Reiki. So sorry we're alienating you.
We love you. Stay for the other shit.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing. Here's what they do. You'll lie down.
Yep.
And they may ask you, hey, anything hurting, anything feeling a little wonky do? Or is it just sort of general malaise?
Yeah.
And then they will wave a hand over you and feel out your energy.
Yeah.
And they can do this. They can definitely feel
Absolutely.
where on your body your energy is low.
Where you've just told
where it's
them you're
high.
hurting. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Oh, interesting, because when you said your legs hurt,
Yeah.
I waved my hand over your legs and I could feel that.
Yeah.
So you're not lying to me, and I'm definitely not lying to you.
This is built on mutual trust.
This is magic.
This relationship.
And then once they've sort of gotten a sense of where your energies are and whatever, and all the chakras, how they're doing.
Yeah.
And by the way, they cheat. I will point out.
What?
When they do the heart chakra, if it's a woman, they'll put their hand much higher than their actual heart because they don't want to molest her or whatever.
Yeah.
When it's the
I
root
think
chakra,
some of them might, but that's
well,
on
that's
them.
probably true. So once they've done that, they actually then oftentimes touching actually does occur. So they'll put their hands like on your head. They'll put their hands on your chest, and they will impart unto you energy,
Right.
aka their hands are on you.
Right.
Right.
And the thing is, I'm guessing that if you set it up well
You get a boner.
with some,
And that's how you know the turkey's done. Right? Everything's better now. You're all good to go.
I don't know what to do with any of this.
Give me your money.
Right. Actually, a boner would probably be the one thing that could kill this whole lucrative career as a Reiki practitioner. But yeah, I mean, basically, if you set it up well for their psyche, they are going to believe. Yeah, I mean, look, I am an actor. I went to acting school in college,
Right.
and we did a lot of things where we would like
Try to get a boner with that.
impart energy to each other, and I participated in all.
We're talking about the same thing here. So
Yes, sure. And let me tell you something. If you put your hands out towards someone and you try and focus all of your energy into your hands, and they focus all of their energy into their back or wherever you're putting your hands, and you'll feel a thing.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Because we're suggestible and stupid
Yeah,
critters.
exactly.
And we can also actually probably create some sort of function that gets a tingle going.
Well, and plus, people who go to Reiki are not people. I mean, occasionally they're people like us trying to prove it wrong. You don't drive to the Reiki shop,
pay
unless
money.
You're kind of already in the fold,
Right, yeah.
You're believing it. You're going to feel it.
Yeah, you're paying money for this
Right.
shit. And all this person is going to do, literally, the most they're going to do is touch your face and touch your head and touch your chest and touch your belly and touch your legs and touch your arms. And then you're done. For literally, they will spend a few minutes on each of these things with their hands on you, and that's it.
Yeah. And then all your cash goes to Big Reiki.
Yeah.
Right. And they're lobbyists.
What do you call a place where you practice Reiki? Does it have a name? A Reiki studio?
It's called the basement of someone's house.
Yeah, exactly.
90% of the time. Or it's called, somebody's massage studio that they also
it's
have.
called that massage table I haven't used in 3 years.
It's called Sedona, Arizona.
Yeah, exactly.
House.
Anyway, so that's it. That is literally the extent of it, and they will, they'll charge you for it. They will put their hands on you. You will feel a thing if you believe them.
Yeah.
If you don't believe them, you'll still feel their hands on you.
At work recently, there was a minor, well, someone got hurt, but it was a minor accident, a couple broken ribs. And this person demanded of the company that they be sent to that they cover a very expensive Reiki practitioner.
Yeah.
And
Well, you get the emergency room or the Reiki.
well,
but
they went to the emergency room where the actual
Right, exactly.
aid was
Right.
provided, which
Yeah.
isn't much for broken ribs, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And then this person was suffering quite a bit, and so it turned into this whole argument. And the company guy was like, "You can go to the emergency room because it's real. You can't go to Reiki because it's not.
Right.
Or we're not paying for it. You can go to it, but we're not paying for it."
Yeah, it's amazing. I actually once I had a friend who was a very woo oriented fellow, to the point where he believed, he would show videos of cloud busting and be like, "Ha ha, see," that sort of thing.
We should be careful because Frank listens to the show.
A, it's not Frank, and B, no, he doesn't. But it was this guy is super wooey, and he was like, well, if this stuff isn't true, then why do insurance companies pay for Reiki? And apparently, some of them might do. There are some doctors who will say, go ahead and get some Reiki done. I think a lot of doctors have sort of started saying it's okay to do woo stuff as a complementary treatment.
Right.
Just
Probably because they believe in the placebo effect.
Well, and also because
Which I know is a very complicated thing. Don't at me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, but also if you say, "Oh, this is okay too," then somehow you're a better doctor and maybe you're more holistic, and they'll actually believe what you have to say too. I think that there's the psychology.
You got to sweeten the pot for some of these yokels.
Psychological game of I can see that you came in here.
Yes.
You smudged my doctor's office before I came in. Okay, let's see. How am I going to make you actually take your
This
medicine?
doctor that has to understand that the person he's talking to believe that this X-ray machine and this rain stick
Right.
do the same thing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Imagine in the doctor's head. Sure.
Sure.
Go
to Reiki.
Go to Reiki. You'll come to chemotherapy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to prescribe you a tambourine.
And I think that's we have to repeat it over and over, but that is the thing, because Reiki is obviously in and of itself not dangerous.
Yes.
There's nothing that can hurt you in Reiki unless they, trip and fall on
Right.
you. Because all they're doing is barely touching you. If you have brittle bone disease, you're probably still fine with Reiki.
I don't
Right.
know. If they poke my inflamed rage pouch, it might
it might
rupture.
It might rupture. That's true.
They just don't
But-
heal. That wound doesn't heal.
It
ever.
doesn't heal.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the problem with all woo only comes when you forego
Everything
actual
else,
treatment.
Yeah.
And just go with the Reiki. So, if you want to do Reiki, if it makes you feel good, touching is actually great.
Yeah.
Touch. We know that human touch, is super useful and releases all kinds of,
Yeah, it's emotionally very powerful.
Happy chemicals. Go ahead. But here's the thing. If you go to a Reiki practitioner, you might hear something like this. I went to Reiki.org, and they had this quote. This is an amazing quote. And that quote is, Reiki is a simple, natural, and safe method of spiritual healing and self-improvement that everyone can use. It has been effective in helping virtually every known illness and malady, and always creates a beneficial effect.
No, wrong.
Also, the ability to use Reiki is not taught in the usual sense, but is transferred to the student during a Reiki class. Anyway, it's this kind of shit. Like this whole thing about like you will get a beneficial effect always.
Right. And that it can treat. It's been used to treat every ailment,
every known illness and malady.
Rickets.
But see, that's probably what the attorney told them they had to say. Right?
No, no, that seems really legally dangerous.
Yeah,
to me, that.
But I think it's broad enough that if it's for everything, it's for nothing.
And it just says in helping.
Yeah.
It doesn't say curing. It doesn't say treating.
Yeah.
So
that's still incredibly reckless. I think.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely,
very reckless language,
absolutely, and also a fantastic example of a red flag that we should all be aware of.
Yeah.
If anybody ever says, if you ever say, "What is this treatment good for?" and they say, "Well, everything really."
Yeah. No.
just turn around.
Right. Yeah. Leave that basement or recently former nail salon immediately.
Right. Don't even make an excuse. Just turn around and walk away. You don't have to talk to them anymore.
There's a reason why the pill commercials on TV don't just say for everything,
Yes,
for all things.
And as with all woo, the other thing is that like when people who are so put off by the commercials for medicines because they have all of these possible side effects include blah, 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 blah. That's because they are required by law to report possible side effects.
Yeah.
Whereas with woo, they're not required to say a goddamn thing about.
Right.
They're not required to keep track of any possible downside. They're not required to keep track of any possible upside. All they have to do is just make claims and make money
and take your money.
It's because of all the lobbyists that work for Big Woo.
Big woo.
Well, I feel like we've done one thing. We've talked you into getting some Reiki.
Go get it. Hey, at very least, someone will touch you. So
Or not.
Or not. They may actually just wave their hands over you.
Let us wash our hands of this entire
Like the
thing.
rocket's red glare. All right. Let's do that. That's it for Reiki.
Moving on.